What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another lesson here at Go Rails. Today, we're going to look at an example of something that came out of our Discord group here. Somebody was asking about how to basically kind of solve this little issue they were doing right here with this if statement and doing this type checking to render certain attributes or not certain attributes of the other one, right? Now, this doesn't exactly map to what they were asking, but it paints an accurate picture. It gets to like really the core of what they were trying to do, right? Because they were trying to ask where the best place was to put this code. They were asking about in the view here, or maybe doing something in the controller. In their case, they were able to do that. And here, we're just going to take it from the view here. So this app is about displaying properties, right? There's different types of properties, single unit properties, multi-unit properties in this case. And right now, this isn't terribly bad, this if conditional here, the if and else if conditional here. Where it does start to perhaps become a problem is when you have other types of properties other than these two, when you start adding more in, whatever they may be, right? You then have to continually add new branches to this if statement here, right? Which in that case could get quite gnarly to look at and parse. So what I think would be nice is really if we had separate partials for each of these different types, and we could just render them dynamically based on whatever the model is that's being passed in right here, right? Or whatever kind of property is being used here. So this view here is the show page for a property. So here we're on the index. If we click into the show here, this is that section here, right? So what would really be nice to do is just we have, now this is set up, let me just quickly say, this is set up to use single table inheritance. Okay, if we go look at the schema file here, go look at properties. Okay, here's the properties table here. You can see there's just one table, and all of these models will have all of these attributes available to be called on it, even though some of them are not using these all of these attributes, right? And here you can see on the table we have the type column, which is used so that we can set single unit, multi-unit, etc. for the different types of properties that were being used here. So really what would be nice if we were able to do render at property, and that would just work, right? That would be awesome. Let's delete this real quick, save this, let's refresh here and see what happens. So you can actually see that Rails does allow us to do this, right? So it's saying here that, hey, we tried to look up the partial for whatever this model is. Currently in this show page, it is a single unit property, so it's trying to find single unit properties, single unit property partial. So we bring this code back here, and let's delete these two lines out of here. If we go to edit app views, single unit properties, if we add a single unit property partial, okay, we can paste that code in here. Now if we refresh, we see that not only do we get the attributes showing from the original show page here of the base class properties, right? You see the type and all that stuff. We also see the garage spaces and the yard size, which are from this partial here that we just made, right? So Rails is very capable enough in order to just be smart about what model is being rendered here and allow you to render the partial accordingly. So if we do the same thing here, we cut these out of here, and then let's make edit in app views. Let's see, multi-unit properties, multi-unit property partial. Paste those in, format it. Okay, now we can go ahead and get rid of this conditional completely. And let's go back. So let's find a multi-unit property. We'll do this one here. We go to the show page, and there you can see the extra attributes for the multi-unit property being rendered out here too. So total units and common area that is coming from this partial here. So you can simply just render these models that are used from single table inheritance, right? They will just dynamically render out the partials there. Rails is really smart about that. But in this person's case, what they were trying to do is render out the edit page for the models, which is a little bit more involved. You can't necessarily just do it this way. What you have to end up doing is using some string interpolation in order to render the proper partial out. So for example, instead of the link to edit the property here, let's go ahead and try to render out the form here for editing. Now, if we look at the Explorer here, both the multi-unit property and the single unit property have their own edit partial, okay? So we can see that here, right? And then they show the specific specific fields to that model. But let's see what happens if we try to render out just form here. So render form. Now we're going to need a variable here, a local variable to pass over, but both of these forms are using model specific named local variables here. So that's going to create a bit of an issue for us here in order to do what we're trying to do here. So you can see we have the same thing here in the form for the multi-unit property. So in order to get to where we want to go, one thing we could do is we could just go ahead and delete all the way to property there and just rename the variable property in both of these cases. Okay, so that's a start there. And so now we should just be able to say property is at property. All right, now let's try to refresh here and see what we get here. So just like normal, it tried to look in the current directory from which this view is being rendering. So in this case, it tried to look for a form partial inside the properties directory, which we do not have. And actually form is what we want. We really wanted this edit partial here. So let's go ahead and let's see what happens when we change that to render edit and try to refresh. So again, there's no partial named properties edit. If we look at our Explorer here, we only have the edit view. That's not a edit partial here. Okay, so we want to be able to render out the proper edit partial for each property here. Now this is more like what that person was talking about in Discord. So we need some sort of way to, get like the pluralized name of the model here /edit, right? So that we can tell Rails, hey, go look in this directory for the edit partial and render it. So how are we going to do that? Let's hop over into the console real quick here. And let's just grab a property here. So let's say prop equals property dot first. Okay, so we just happen to have a single unit property here. Okay, now if we call prop.model name, we see we get this instance of active model name back. So we can actually look through these instance variables here and see that there's an at plural instance variable, which actually maps to the correct name of the directory that we want to specify to go look for the edit partial in, right? So if we were to say prop.modelName .plural, okay, we see we get that string back. So we can actually use this in order to instruct Rails on where to go look for this property at. Now, real quick, one thing we could also do is override the toPartialPath method, but I don't think we want to do that in this case because that's going to mess up, and you probably don't want to do that in most cases because that's going to mess up the dynamic rendering that we're doing here, right? If we go tell it, if we override that method and specify something else, it's not going to go look in the correct place for the partial. So we probably want to stay away from that. Instead, we can go ahead and use this property.modelName.plural call here. So let's give it a go here. So we need to do some string interpolation. Okay, and then we'll need a slash right there. So we'll want to do at property.modelName.plural. Okay, so now if we refresh here, now we see the edit form for the proper property type, right? So you can see here, edit multi-unit property, these downtown apartments. Just judging from the name, I could tell it's a multi-unit property, right? But here we see the type is exactly that. So if we go back here, we go to a single unit property, we can see now that we're getting the correct form displayed for this property type as well. So things are working just fine here. So this is a great little trick to know in order to render these partials dynamically, especially partials not like we're doing here that are based off of the model name itself. Maybe some other partials that you need to that, like in this case, this edit partial that we're trying to render out here, like the person from Discord was trying to do. Definitely a nice handy little tool to have under your tool belt. One thing I will say though is that if you're using Herb, you will see that Marco has an open issue here on Herb about this, specifically for a linter rule here to disallow dynamic partial lookup via string interpolation or runtime expressions. And he has some reasons why about this should be a rule here, which you can read about here. Dynamic partial paths can lead to runtime errors, missing partials, which, yes, very true. If somehow you get a weird model name passed through here that you don't have a partial for, it's going to blow up on you. Hard to debug view rendering behavior, that's a fair argument as well. But then also there's some difficulties with linters and formatters, and it's hard for static analysis to take effect here for that. Now, of course, you got some examples of good, okay, and bad. Of course, we're doing the bad stuff here. I'm okay with it. I like it. I don't really necessarily feel that's a big deal for me. I would just maybe turn that rule off in Herb, maybe once this lands, or I do kind of like his idea here of perhaps leaning into the strict locals in order to be able to do this. So that's maybe an option coming in the future that would allow us to do this some more without having, the linter rule issue here. But, teach their own, do what you must. But I think it is a very nice tool to have in your tool belt to know that you can do these sorts of things here. So with that, I'll end this one here. Short and sweet here. Hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit, and I will see you in the next one.